climate strike draws thousands to Queen's Park. Chilling interview of Toronto van attack suspect released as publication ban lifts. The fight against sexual violence grows stronger as Humber takes back the night. Humber News starts now. Hello, I'm Madison Ray, coming to you from our newsroom at Humber's North Campus. It's Friday, September 27th, and here's what's making the news this hour. Millions of people of all ages have taken to the street for the second round of a global climate strikes. Today's protest is branded Earth Strike and follows a series of worldwide demonstrations surrounding the UN's Climate Action Summit. From Israel to Finland, to New Zealand to South Korea, and right here in Canada, where hundreds of thousands are protesting in the streets of Montreal. On hand was climate activist Greta Thunberg, who met with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to discuss Canada's involvement in climate policy.
We've become too loud for people to handle, so they try to silence us. So we should also take that as a compliment.
Protests are happening all over Canada, including Toronto. Humber reporter Paige McGowan joins us live from Queen's Park.
Thank you, Madison. I'm here live at Queen's Park, where the climate change protest is taking place today. Canadians are angry and demanding justice for the Earth.
Systems change, not climate change. Systems change, not climate change. Yes.
Thousands of people and hundreds of protest signs blanket the grounds of Queen's Park today. Energies are extremely high as the crowd cheers with every chant and sings along to every song. They've expressed outrage as multiple speakers shared accounts of environmental injustice. This march is mostly comprised of students who were given permission by the Toronto District School Board to skip classes so that they could protest the climate crisis.
There were like 55 students that we marched from, and we all walked out of class, and our teachers actually wanted us to walk out of class. They said, I know you're missing school, but this is more important than school right now.
The rally began at 11 a.m. at Queen's Park, followed by the march that is taking protesters down University Avenue to City Hall and back up Bay Street before returning back to Queen's Park. Demonstrators were equipped with powerful messages expressed on signs and posters.
We already saw the weather and the seasons changing. We already know about how many species are disappearing. We already know that the bees are leaving the earth, and we know that they are the only things that keeps this biodiversity stable. So that's one of my main concerns and what pushed me to come here.
We've got to stop this climate breakdown. We are on such a razor-thin edge of irreversible change.
The event was organized by multiple youth-led climate action groups, the main one being Fridays for Future.
So I'm from Fridays for Future Toronto, and as you can see, there's so many people that have come down here, but this is not where we want it to stop. We're in the midst of a crisis. There's no action. So you have to do something.
Many of the protesters have shared their admiration for Swedish environmental activist Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg is in Canada. She's in Montreal right now. So she's helping Canadians to wake up to the fact that this is serious.
Today's global climate strike comes in the middle of the federal election campaign.
We're trying to encourage people to vote by holding the earth in their vote, and we're giving information on how to vote to do so, because this is the most important election, not just for Canada, but for the Earth. Canadians don't understand the power we have right now in our vote. Every single Canadian can vote to change the future of this planet.
Politicians are being asked to reevaluate their climate action plans with a deadline of 2050. You can literally feel the energy coming from the crowd here today. Everyone is really passionate about making real change. I'm Paige McGowan for Humber News. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Paige. A video has been released of the man accused of killing 10 people while driving on a sidewalk down Yonge Street last year. Alek Minassian's 4-hour interview with Toronto police was made public by the judge presiding over the case. 25-year-old Minassian explains his motivation in the video. In the interview, Minassian discusses his connections to the incel movement. Incel is short for involuntary celibacy and involves a subculture of men who blame women for the fact that they are not having sex. He says his inspiration for murder, Elliot Rodger, was killed 6 people and then himself in 2014. When asked about his feelings about the attack, Minassian said he felt like he had accomplished his mission. A report will be released by the RCMP in British Columbia about murder spree that made headlines over the summer. The manhunt for two teenage suspects, 18-year-old Briar Shmelski and 19-year-old Cam McLeod, began on July 23rd after they were charged with the three murders. The bodies of the accused were found on August 7th in northern Manitoba. Police said that both men died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds and were dead for several days. Many people hope the report will provide some answers. When faced with a choice, Humber students chose to support their student government and campus life by opting into their fees. Official numbers indicate that the majority of students have continued to fund Ignite and other campus services. Drew Serene has more on the story.
This is a direct attack on student democracy, and it will not stand unchallenged!
In January, the Ontario government announced the Student Choice Initiative, a program that allowed students to opt out of some post-secondary fees. Many students and education advocates were upset about how these changes might affect life on campus. With official numbers now in for Humber, stats show that 80% of students have opted into their fees. Students had until September 16th to support or reject fees that funded resources like student government, clubs, campus publications, and event programming. The school released official numbers, and Humber President Chris Whitaker says the majority of students have continued to pay their fees.
Everything hasn't been processed, the final numbers, because it's still early on in the semester, but it seems that over 80% of the students are opting in to all the ancillary fees, which is a sign of their support for what is being offered to them.
Ignite's executive director, Ercole Perrone, says Ignite's strong numbers are because they listen to the student body.
What Ignite is an organization that truly believes unequivocally that students are entitled to the best experience on campus, whether you're a Humber or Guelph Humber student.
Changes to the OSAP program had many post-secondary institutions worried about lower enrollment. Humber's numbers, in contrast, have defied expectations. Vice President Jason Hunter says enrollment has gone up.
Domestically, we continue to have strong enrollment, and we're probably up a couple of percent over what we had anticipated. So I think our reputation contributes to that. And certainly I think we go out of our way to provide additional supports for students.
The college is also preparing for its first multi-million-dollar fundraising campaign.
Yeah, we're very excited. Humber hasn't had a public fundraising campaign ever in its history, and so we are branding this. We're calling it Unlimited, not because we're going to raise unlimited money, but because we think that all of our graduates have unlimited possibilities with the education they receive at Humber.
Students will face this process again in 4 months' time. In January, they'll have the choice to opt out of fees. For Humber News, I'm Drew Serene.
U.S. President Donald Trump took to Twitter this morning to accuse the White House whistleblower of fabricating their sources. Trump is accused of soliciting foreign interference from Ukraine in the 2020 U.S. election. His latest tweets call the allegations against him inaccurate. Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced on Tuesday a formal impeachment inquiry of Trump. The inquiry is sparked by an anonymous complaint that claims Trump asked Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky to investigate Democratic rival Joe Biden. The complaint also claims that the White House attempted to cover up the phone call. Trump acknowledges that he spoke to Zelensky by phone, but says their conversation was perfect and very legal. A shocking discovery in northern Nigeria where young boys were held captive were found. More than 300 prisoners were rescued yesterday after reports came in that they were abused at their school. The boys are seen outside of the school bound by metal chains that were wrapped around their hands and feet. Some of the boys are chained to a heavy car part, ensuring that they wouldn't escape. One victim was seen with welts on his back from being whipped. The boys were held captive at an Islamic school in the city of Kaduna. It said that they were starved, tortured, and sexually abused. A police spokesperson said that 2 of the children had come from Burkina Faso, while the others had been brought by their parents from across northern Nigeria.
Small children, some of them are brought from our neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana, and the rest. And the children gathered here are from all over the country, across all over the country. They were here, some of them were even chained. They were used, dehumanized.
People say 7 believed to be teachers and had been arrested since the raid. The children are now being held in a temporary camps at the stadium in Kaduna while authorities attempt to contact their parents. Beachgoers were shocked yesterday to find a mass standing of whales on an African beach. Over 134 melon-headed whales lay dead on Cape Verde Boas Vista Island. The videos of a mass stranding were posted on social media by a local reporter. It's not known what the cause of the stranding. Contributing factors like sickness, navigational error, predators, or extreme weather could have led to this incident. We're going to take a quick break. Still ahead, the latest in sports. But first, Ashley Radcliffe has a preview of your 3-day forecast.
We have a beautiful weekend ahead of us, but after that we'll have a week long of showers. So if you're expecting to do anything outdoors, today would be the time to do so. I'll have your 3-day forecast later on. Stay warm, everybody.